While we continue our coverage of that particular conference, Nqobile Madlala is at Nasrec, where it's been taking place. Nqobile, good evening to you. Thanks for your time tonight. Firstly, it's been what one can consider a successful conference for the Youth League. They haven't been able to pull off such a strong showing, at least not in the last 8 years or so. What are some of the sentiments over how it has gone over the last couple of days? I know it started with some difficulties.
Well, there has been difficulties, especially when it was the first day. Time has been quite an issue. It seems a lot has had to happen, but they have decided to cut out some parts of what they needed to work on. As I speak to you right now, the delegates, although they were supposed to nominate over 40, going to 60 people that are going to be going into a ballot where they are going to be voting for the NEC that is going to be which is going to be 40 people plus the top 6, which is 46. Now, we have heard that it has taken quite a long time from the morning. They started a bit late, so time being a major issue at this point. These are some of the difficulties that they've had to look at, but now they're deciding that they are officially closing the nomination of those people that are going to go onto the ballot. And of course, they are still yet to vote, which means time again becoming one of those major things that they've had to worry about. However, a lot of people, if you look in this space, seem quite happy with what is happening. In fact, we saw the ANC Youth League president taking a stance there as he passes a motion to say that it's time for them to close the nomination. And so a lot of people now have been tasked, especially the Secretary Generals, to go out and get their members, and they all need to come inside here and prepare to listen to President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is going to be addressing here. So everybody's getting ready, and you can just hear the mood inside this place becoming more and more happier and interesting, and just the preparation to hear from the president. But before we look into that mood, I want to bring in the NYTT, because this is the structure that became very vital at a time when the ANC Youth League was not active. And Nqobile, thank you very much for joining us. But I just want to find out, at this moment, we can see the ANC Youth League has the top 6 and about to get 40 more people that are going to be part of that NEC. Tell me, what was the mandate of the NYTT?
The mandate of us as a structure was very simple. It was to take young people to their congress so that we are going to reclaim our autonomy back. You remember that almost a decade, the young people of South Africa had no organization. And now young people, they have organization, of which is the ANC Youth League. So now they've got their structure. What we need to do is to celebrate. After long as time, there was no organization. But now there is organization for young people. And is that what needs to be celebrated across the country? That for the past almost a decade, there was no ANC Youth League. The mission is accomplished because our responsibility and our task was to make sure that young people, they reclaim their autonomy back by taking them to the Congress. They have Congress now. They've elected the top 6. The only remaining responsibility that they have now is to elect the additional of 40 young people to form part of the National Executive Committee of the ANC Youth League.
And I mean, I know this is, of course, very important. As we can see now, the ANC Youth League, we can finally see that it is finally happening. And it's been quite a long time. 8 years is a very long time. Tell me, what do you think are the priorities that they need to now look at?
Yeah, young people are celebrating, as I've been saying to you, that they are celebrating the victory that we have delivered the Congress to them. And now they have to elect the top 6. What becomes then the mandates? One, you will remember that in the 2011 National Congress of the ANC Youth League, we resolved that we need economic freedom in our lifetime. And that became the program of action for this Congress. That's what we have agreed. In fact, if you look at the theme of this Congress, which is economic freedom and social change now, not later, meaning those resolutions that were taken, we want to see them now practical, because we are understanding that if you want to reduce unemployment in the country, if you want to reduce social ease in the country, there must be environment that is conducive for young people, which is going to make them form part of the solutions, by the way, to the challenges that are faced. What are those critical problems? One, South Africa must be able to use its competitive advantage to advantage young people. Those people who are mining in South Africa, we need to form part of it. If we want to expropriate land without compensation, the ANC must make sure that it must not just reaffirm it, but we want to see it practical now. We want to start now. After this Congress, we are starting the program of expropriating land without compensation. We want to see the state forming the bank, because all these problems that have been created that are piling, and the president, I can tell you, it is what is coming to address this Congress of young people. I can tell you the Congress started as far as Tuesday. That can tell you that number of young people are unemployed, and we can't celebrate. And we as the ANC Youth League becomes our primary interest to make sure that we champion the interests of young people, but also we rally behind them toward the pen of the African National Congress. But we can't rally behind them if we don't have views and clear program of action with direction that we as the ANC Youth League, we must take to make sure that we create a conducive environment that is going to allow young people who are innovative by nature, which are capable also to create employment. The only thing that we need to enable an environment, and then they participate in the mainstream.
But would you say that the ANC Youth League is still in touch with those issues that the youth is facing at this moment? I mean, 8 years is a very long time. The whole space has changed. Would you say then they will be capable of taking on those issues and tackling them head on?
What I can assure you, after this Congress, the ANC don't need even to worry about opposition party. The ANC Youth League is arrived, the ANC Youth League is back. You will see, when the Secretary General yesterday, Comrade Nqobile Madlala, said there is no party in South Africa that is alive and enjoyed by young people like the ANC Youth League. He was not just speaking about phenomenon. It's a reality, it's a fact. There is no any organization that represents young people in South Africa, even in Africa in general, except the ANC Youth League. One of the things that we are going to see, by the way, you are going to have more of us on the streets, in media, everywhere, championing the interests of young people, making sure that we close the space. Those populist organizations that have been trying to merge with the ANC, they are nowhere closer to the African National Congress. Just that there was a gap, as we are saying, that almost a decade there was no ANC Youth League. Now there's ANC Youth League. You will start to see the miracle. And we are going to see the program of action. We are going to see the ANC Youth League alive, the ANC Youth League championing the interests of young people. And that is not going to happen, by the way. As we have said, the president of the ANC Youth League, Collen Malatji, saying, when we want the leadership of the ANC to take us serious, we need to start by taking ourselves serious. And I can tell you, the posture that we are taking towards today's National Congress, even thereafter, we are going to take ourselves very serious so that the ANC can see that we are not playing. When we need a bilateral with the ANC, when we need to articulate issues, they must not think that we are speaking from nowhere. This organization is a basic organization. We've got basic, which are branches of the ANC Youth League. We are going to, as we have seen that we have introduced the issue of second PSG, we have introduced the issues of cells of the ANC Youth League. That now we want the membership of the ANC Youth League, even in a groupings of 15, wherever they are, if they can combine and champion the program of action, which we are going to endorse after this National Congress, you will see something else.
I mean, the NYTT in itself, when it was introduced, it was because there were a lot of divisions within the ANC Youth League as well. Have you gone above and beyond that now?
Not necessarily the divisions. We must, I think we must give credit when it is due. Comrade Nqobile and Comrade Choi. Remember that the organization came from where there were no organization at all. They tried their best, they launched. That's why I think even in the space of 3 months we were able to take young people to the Congress, because they've done a number of work in terms of sitting regions and so forth. Ours was very simple. We just adopted the program of action. We said this is the roadmap. Let us follow the roadmap. We followed the roadmap. And the roadmap, by the way, that we said, We said from the 30 up until 4 July, we are going to have Congress. Indeed, this weekend we are here. We are having the Congress.
All right. We'll let you continue with that Congress. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That's, of course, Nqobile, who's speaking to us just about what are the plans of that ANC Youth League. You have seen the action that was taking place behind me. They are now getting ready to welcome the president, of course, to address them. And, of course, with that, the president saying that, the ANC Youth League president saying that everybody has 20 minutes to make sure that they are now all inside and ready to hear President Cyril Ramaphosa.
All right, Nqobile Madlala will leave it there for tonight. At least